Methods of executing MRP. Okay, so the topics we'll be covering today. The topics we'll be covering today will be how to execute MRP run. What are the different methods of executing MRP run? What is total MRP? How to execute online? How to execute as a background job? Okay, then we'll see how to do planning run for a single material, single item planning. And in the single item planning, what are the different procedures are there? Then what is interactive planning? And then we'll see scope of planning. Okay, what is scope of planning, why it is used, we'll understand, and then we'll see the different MRP procedures in the system. So let's move on. So to execute MRP run, so these are the methods of executing MRP run. These are the ones, these are the options these are the various options with which you will be executing MRP run. Okay, so there are a lot of options are there. So first thing will be total planning. Okay, total planning, that means you will be planning all the materials in the particular plant. You will be planning all the materials in the plant at one shot. Okay, so that's what is a total planning. Just 1 minute. Okay, so where this total planning, which is called at plant level, you can do again in two ways. One is online. Okay, that means front end planning run, and another one is as a background job. So at a predefined interval, you put it as a background job. So at that time, automatically MRP run will be getting executed. Okay, so this is the total planning. Now the other options we have is for a single material, single item planning. It is called single item planning. So again here you have three options. Multi-level, that means it will plan the entire BOM structure of that particular material. Not only plans that material, that material might be having some BOM components. So those components also will get planned. Even though it is called single item planning, you have the option of executing the MRP for all the down level materials of that particular single item. Here the item means material. Okay, now the other one is single item planning, single level. That means only one level we will be planning. That means the entire BOM structure will not get planned in this single item planning with single level. Okay, now the other one is interactive planning. Interactive planning means you will be analyzing the results while executing the MRP run. That's what you will be doing. Okay, so these are the different methods of executing the MRP run. Okay, so we will now see all these things in the system. Okay, so first we'll be seeing at the plant level. This is what we just discussed. Okay, so planning run for the entire plant. Okay, so this is called online total planning. Okay, now the next one is planning run for one plant, background processing. So you will be scheduling it as a background job. It is called total planning. Of course, background job. On the back end, it will be executed at a predefined time, date, or predefined duration, predefined period, and some time. So you will give all those details in the background job. Okay, so these are the MRP run at plant level. Okay, I'll show you this in the system. Okay, so to execute MRP plant level, first one online. The transaction code is MD01. This is MRP run. Okay, this is the MRP run. You will be executing a plant level. Scope of planning we'll discuss in a minute. Okay, and here you will be entering your plant. Let's say I want to do for plant 1000. Okay, you enter the plant. Of course, we'll discuss this MRP control parameters in later classes. You enter your plant and then you will start the MRP run. Okay, you will start the MRP run. You just click on enter and system will plan all the materials in this plant. Of course, it will be checking for the planning file entry. Which materials have to be planned, which materials have not to be planned. It will go for the checking for the planning file entry, which we discussed yesterday. Okay, so all the materials in this particular plant will get planned. Okay, so this is the MRP run at plant level, that to front end, online. Front end you will be doing the planning. Okay, so now the next one will be the planning run for one plant. Of course, this is a background job processing. So instead of executing front end, you will be configuring it through background job. Okay, so the transaction code is MDBT. Okay, here total planning. What you will do is you will create a variant first. You will create a variant first for your particular plant. If you select, if you see this for plant 1000, there is already a variant created. If you go to the change variant, so it's already created. Actually, you will not be creating. You will be creating a new variant. Let me create a new variant. Srinivas. I'm creating a new variant. Okay, see here you will be giving the plant and all those stuff. Okay, then you save it. And this you will be putting it as a background job. If you ask your business people, they will be schedule the background job for you. They will do through SM37 transaction. Okay, they will do through SM36. Define background job. Okay, you give a job name here, and then in that you will be entering the variant, and you will be this background job will be running as a background job based on the specified period and time. Okay, now in the industries, background jobs are normally executed at predefined times. Okay, so MRP normally in some industries they do daily. Okay, in some industries they do weekly. Okay, okay, weekly. In some industries they do monthly also, monthly once only. Okay, or some industries they do fortnightly. It depends. Now the next one is, it is recommended MRP should be executed during non-business hours. You should normally it is recommended to execute MRP during non-business hours. That means if you are executing MRP during business hours where users will be making the transactions, what happens is MRP will not be able to give proper results. Okay, so that's why it is recommended to execute MRP during the non-business hours, like in the night, where you will not be having any transactions, right? So business will not be running. So that times normally it will be executed in the night time. Okay, so the duration is normally decided by the client and business team. Both they will decide what is the duration, and the time you will be normally executing it in the night time. Most of the industries MRP will be running as a background job, normal, not front end. We have the option of running front end, but most of the industries they'll execute MRP as a background job at a predefined time, predefined time. Every day in the night around 12 o'clock, like that, it will be executed. Okay, in the interviews they will ask the questions, what is the frequency of MRP in this particular client? Just check whether you have the whether really you worked on MRP or not. They'll ask this kind of questions, and at what time it will be running, at what time MRP is executed. They'll ask these kind of questions in the interviews. Okay, so this is the MRP run front end. Okay, so as a background job is the next one. Okay, so now we'll go to single item MRP. So you will be executing MRP for only for particular material. Okay, only for particular material. So here single item multi-level planning. Okay, so here you will be executing only for this material actually, but as it is a multi-level planning, it will plan all the BOM components of that particular material till all levels are reached. Okay, not only it will plan this material, on the screen you will give this material, but system will explore the BOM of this particular material and it will plan the entire BOM structure. That's what it does. Okay. Now coming to single item, single level planning. Single level planning, it will plan only that particular product. That's all. Planning only one BOM level only. Dependent requirements are sent to next BOM level, but those will not get planned. Okay, so that is what the single item MRP in the SAP. Okay, so you have single item multi-level planning, you have single item single level planning, but still in most of the industries they follow this one only, first one. Okay, this is normally not used much. Only they will plan the entire BOM structure. Okay, so we will see how it is executed in the system. Okay, so if you go here, so the transaction code is, we were using the transaction all the time. So go to logistics, production, MRP, planning, here MD02, single item multi-level planning. Okay, here you give your material, your plant. Of course, these parameters will discuss. And if you are doing for a product group, suppose let's say I want to do it for a product group, you select this product group, and here instead of material, you'll be entering the product group. Try to recollect our sales and operations planning classes where we discussed what is product group and all. Product group is nothing but collection of some materials, group of some materials. So if you want to do for that, you select this product group, option, and here instead of entering the material, you will be entering the product group. Okay, so that is what the single item multi-level planning. We will discuss this MRP control parameters in the next sessions. Okay, so this is how you execute single item multi-level. The transaction code is MD02, which we were using all the time. Okay, so here you enter the material. Let's enter one material. Okay, let's say I have 2096. So you will enter the material over here. Enter your plant, and then you will execute here. You click on this button, enter. Then it will execute MRP, and it will show all the results over here. Okay, we'll discuss these results also. We'll be discussing these results also. Okay, so that normally you will be getting a log kind of thing here. Okay, so this is how you execute MRP for a single item. Okay, now for a multi-level. Now if you want to do for single item single level planning, the transaction code, this is the one, MD03. Okay, it will plan only one level, only this material. Okay, so that is what the single item single level. Then you click on enter. It will do the single item single level. Okay, now whereas single item planning interactive means, what happens is when you are doing the MRP, system will be showing you the results on your screen, not log. It will be showing the result of each and every material on the screen. Then you see them, analyze them, and then accordingly you will save the results. Unless and until you save the results, the results will not get saved to database. Okay, anyhow, we'll discuss this one in the next class when we go to MRP control parameters. Okay, so that is what the MD43. Just 1 minute. Hello. Good morning, Krishna. అది MRP నడుస్తుంది ఇంకా MRP అయింది MRP తర్వాత ఆయనకి ఎప్పుడు నుంచి కావాలి సరే జాయిన్ అవ్వమని ఇవాళ నుంచి ఆల్రెడీ 6 to 7 అది క్లాస్ మా రోజు 6 to 7 నేను నీకు పంపిస్తాను ఇప్పుడు పింగ్ చేస్తాను ఇప్పుడు పంపిస్తాను ఓకే just give me 1 minute. Okay, so this is a single item planning in the system. Okay, so now we'll discuss on the scope of planning. What is scope of planning in the MRP? Okay, so basically we are executing MRP for a single item as of now, right? We are executing MRP for a single item or single plant. Now if there is a requirement to carry out for multiple plants MRP run at one shot. Let's say I'm having a big organization. There are a lot of plants. Executing MRP for each and every plant will be very time consuming. Okay, so instead of that, what you can do is you can plan the MRP run for all plants at one shot. It's a single time. Okay, so here if you see plant 1000, plant 1100, and these two plants you can carry out MRP at the same time. Okay, that you will do through the scope of planning. You do through the scope of planning. So in the scope of planning, you define these plans, for which plans you want to do the MRP run. Okay, and you define all those plans in the scope of planning, and then you run the MRP. So the MRP will be executed for all these plans one after the other. That is the use of scope of planning. Okay, so we will see it in the system. Okay, so if you go to the configuration, I'll go to the configuration. Okay, SPRO, SAP reference IMG. Okay, go to production. Okay, MRP. Okay, go to planning. Okay, here you are able to see define scope of planning for total planning. Define scope of planning for total planning. So if you go here, so here there are some planning scopes are there. Let's say I want to do MRP run for what do you say? I want to do it for 1000 plant, 1100 plant, and 1200 plant. So for these three plants, I want to execute MRP run simultaneously. Okay, so instead of using background job for each and every plant separately, so that you will be configuring here in the scope of planning. So you go here, you click on new entries, you give a name to your scope of planning. Let's say I'll give my name. Okay, okay, then 7 scope of 7 underscore test. I'll give this, give the name to it, description to it, select this, and here you will be defining a sequence of plants. Okay, so you double click on that folder, you'll be getting this screen. Here you click on the button new entries. So here you enter your plants. First plant is 1000, second plant is 1100, and the third plant is 1200. Okay, okay, so this is the sequence basically. That's all. Okay, you can give 1 2 3 also. Okay, so this is how you give the sequence of plants. Okay, here I am using 3. You can have 5 6 10 as per your requirement. Once the scope of planning is entered, you save the scope of planning. Okay, now this scope of planning you will be using while executing the MRP. So when you are executing the MRP, again it is on MD01 screen. Okay, here you will give the scope of planning. So the scope of planning which we created just now, you will be able to show. You will be able to see over here. See, here it is showing. So you enter the scope of planning. You enter the first plant in the scope of planning, and then you execute. Then it will plan all the materials, not only in this plant. It will plan the remaining materials of that particular plant, and then the other plants which are maintained in the scope planning. So multiple plant planning will be executed through the scope of planning. Okay, so that is what the scope of planning in the MRP. Okay, yeah, so that's what the scope of planning. Okay, so now yeah, we will be discussing the different MRP procedures in the system. Okay, different MRP procedures in the system. Okay, so basically the MRP, just give me 1 minute. Yeah, so the different MRP procedures in the system are this one. Okay, so the different methods. So like you have MRP procedures. We have normal MRP. We have normal MRP, which we are discussing all the time, And another MRP procedure is consumption based planning. Okay, so this consumption based planning only works based on the previous consumption of that particular material. Okay, previous consumption of that particular material. So in this you have reorder point planning, forecast based planning, time based planning. Okay, of course we will not be discussing these two, forecast and time based. Yeah, these are basically normally comes under the scope of MM. Okay, only we will be discussing reorder point planning. Okay, so basically this reorder point planning basically works on a reorder point, a object called reorder point. Okay, so based on this reorder point only MRP will work. We'll discuss this in a minute. Okay, and the other one is the one which we are discussing all the time is normal MRP. Okay, normal MRP we are discussing. You enter the demand or you enter the customer order. Based on that the MRP will be executed. Okay, other than this consumption based. So it only works based on the previous consumption values of that particular material. Based on that only it will work. So the first one we will be discussing is the reorder point planning. Okay, so in the reorder point planning what happens is you have a manual reorder point and you have a automatic reorder point planning. Okay, manual you can do and automatic you can do. Okay, so we'll see how these things works. Okay, so this is how the reorder point planning will work. Okay, so in the reorder point planning what happens is you will define a stock level, you define a reorder level, okay. If your stock falls below this reorder point, then what happens is system will generate the procurement proposal. If your stock is more than the reorder point, system will not generate any procurement proposals. If the stock falls your reorder point, then system will be generating the procurement proposals. Okay, either purchase requisition or whatever planned order. If you are doing in-house production, it will be generating the planned order. Okay, so that is what the reorder point planning. Here it will not consider the requirement from the header material. It will not consider. Only it works on stock level and then the reorder point you define in the system. Okay, so this reorder point planning normally used for non-production materials like consumables, stationery, those which are not directly used in production. For those kind of materials they use this reorder point planning. Okay, so we'll see it in the system. So the reorder point planning, so if you take any raw material, I'll take one raw material. Okay, let me take this 2117 sugar. Okay, 2092 lots are there. 2092, 2091, okay, 2090, 2089, just 1 minute. 2089, 2089, just 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute. Don't waste the time. Okay, I'll create a new material, new raw material. Okay, I'll create a new raw material. I'll copy from the existing one, 2089. Okay, I created a new material. So basically this MRP procedures will be decided by the MRP type you maintain in the material master. Okay, so if you take our material, okay, so this is a material created. Okay, let us go to the material change. Okay, when you go to the material, when you go to the MRP one view, plan 1000. Okay, here there is a MRP type. So here it is PD MRP. That means this is the one, normal MRP PD. Okay, if you want to do consumption based planning, you have to select the relevant MRP type. So if you take here MRP type, if you go to the different MRP types, the one which we are using is now reorder point, manual reorder point. So that is VB. So when you select this MRP type VB, the moment you enter, see, system is asking to enter the reorder point for reorder point planning. It is asking you to enter a reorder point. Okay, let's say I'll enter my reorder point as 200. I will enter my reorder point as 200. Okay, that means if my stock falls below this 200, then only system will be generating a procurement proposal. So if you go to MRP2, consumption is okay, procurement type is F. Okay, now I am saving this material master. So the moment I change the MRP type, system is asking for a reorder point. Okay, so that's what the reorder point I entered. Now let me save this. Okay, so this is my material.